All right. Hey, folks, welcome to Suite 301, coming to you live from Pittsburgh, PA, headquarters of Colt Club Sports. We're here to give you the latest news and happenings around the whole Colt Club Sports universe, and we're officially live on Facebook. So you can watch all our broadcasts on our Suite 301 page as well as our Facebook groups.
Yeah, make sure to follow those Facebook groups and Twitter for all the news, breaking news, that is. All things Colt Club Sports related, all of the leagues. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Colt Club Sports, for the videos from around all of our leagues.
Just occurred to me, you might not know who we are. I mean, I know my hat's a little deceiving given my past history, but I'm Sandy Sanderson, president of Colt Club Sports, and been around the block a few times here with Colt Club Sports, but my co-host.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce myself, if you don't mind. My name is Joe Schaefer, and I am the new assistant director of football operations for the NCFA, as well as the new Great Lakes regional director for the NCBA Division I circuit.
Absolutely. Congratulations on moving on up the ladder.
Excited to be here.
Perfect. And we got a big show today, packed full of special guests. We're going to have Dave Mogensen on to give us his gridiron breakdowns with Mogs. We got Scott Hoffman with the NCFA also going to give us a recap of the fall kickoff. We've had some fall baseball tournaments going on. We're going to have two of those tournament winners, both University of Michigan and SUNY Brockport, calling in to join us on the show today. And last year's, because basketball's right around the corner, we got last year's runner-up from Harvard on the show as well a little bit later on. So since we got the NCFA guy on, let's get started with some football stuff.
Absolutely.
And one of the biggest pieces of news in the NCFA is we've announced the national championship location.
That's correct.
Third year in a row, we're going to be returning to West Liberty University, home of West Family Stadium. Again, 3 years in a row we will have been there. It's a great facility. You got to experience it last year. Kind of one of your first things on the job.
Yeah,
right?
Phenomenal setup they have down there. It's in the sticks of West Virginia, but it's a beautiful facility. We had a great game last year.
Absolutely.
Temperature held up, weather held up. It was an all-around great experience. I'm excited to be back there.
And really, from a venue's perspective for a college club national championship, it's ideal. It really is. Yes. It's not so big that it's overwhelming. You can have the game in Heinz Field. That'd be exciting, but it's going to look empty no matter how many people show up. This is kind of a smaller venue, but up to date. Very up to date. They just went through a multi-million-dollar renovation 3 years ago. Press boxes. The coaches' booths for film and so forth are all state-of-the-art. It's got all the high-end amenities, but in a smaller, compact style. So, and even with the way the stands are laid out, it puts the visiting and home fans kind of interacting together, so it keeps the excitement going throughout the game. It's not like one group of fans is segregated to half the stadium. They're kind of all mixed together. Great concourse, bathrooms, refreshments, easy to get to off the off the highway, not far off a main artery coming through West Virginia. So we're excited to be returning, excited to finally be able to announce it and have all the I's dotted and T's crossed on that.
Absolutely.
And we'll move forward with that. So gives our teams that are competing right now they know where they're striving to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big questions is going to be, can someone dethrone Sacred Heart?
Yeah, that's a big question. We'll see. They started the season out pretty hot last weekend. So
absolutely. Well, I think that's and just for those at home, if you haven't been on the NCFA website, seen the press release, that national championship game will be on Saturday, December 1st at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, well, let's get Dave Mogensen on the line, and we can talk some gridiron breakdown with Mogs. All righty. Mogs, how you doing today?
What's happening, gentlemen?
Good to have you. Good to hear your voice again. It's been too long.
I know it. We should do this more often.
Yes, we should, like once a month. Unfortunately, I missed last month. I got called away out of state, so I couldn't make the show. But catch me up to speed. Like what's got your the hair on your arms standing up when it comes to club football?
All right. Well, we're just gonna let me lead it. Well, we got an interesting season so far. I think we got some teams that some games that are new teams in the league, but then they lose a couple. But we have some of the old standbys like Oakland kind of coming around. We've had a couple of controversies already this year with some people using the wrong kind of players and losing some games because of that. So I don't even start going conference by conference and talking about who's playing well.
Absolutely. Where do you want to start?
All right, well, I'm looking at South Atlantic standings right now. That'll be an easy one because we got Fort Lauderdale, who's kind of dominating everybody right now. They just haven't played a lot of games.
Right, yeah.
So they're 2-0, and they've scored 97 points and given up 12. So they're looking like they are continuing to be very good like last year, but they've only played 2 games. So we don't know exactly what we got there with South Atlantic. Moving up to South Atlantic North, a little bit interesting there. Greensboro started out a little slow, lost their first game, and then now they've come back and they're 4-1, 2-0 conference. They're playing really close games. Middle Georgia State, really tough non-conference schedule. They're sitting 1-0 in conference, 2-2 overall. And then Columbus State is right there too, 5-1, and playing really well. So you got 3 teams there in Greensboro, Middle Georgia State, and Columbus State, all right in the mix. Who knows how it's going to go here the last half of the season, if you can pull out and get to the title game there.
Yeah, and you mentioned Middle Georgia State's non-conference schedule being tough. Hopping on a plane and going up to UW-Whitewater, a perennial national championship contender in the NCAA. What an experience for those guys. I think I was very curious to see. I'm not concerned about the outcome, but I was curious to see how they would stand up health-wise playing that game. Would guys get hurt? Would they not be able to handle it? Would it have a trickle-down negative effect throughout the season? Certainly got good exposure for the Knights, just being able to play in that game, and the kids on the team being able to take a trip like that. That's definitely not the standard club protocol.
No, that was really, because of that last week, or last month we were on, that was really cool, I thought, for them. You come out, get to go up there. Whitewater always has 8, 9, 10,000 people at a game, so I'm sure the atmosphere was really awesome for them. And then playing the varsity game against those guys, you're not going to find anybody better the rest of the year. So they played them, lost, tough game. I don't know where they were at with injuries or things like that, but they came back and played a JV, NAIA JV next week and lost. And then they had their first conference game in week 4 and beat Columbus State for their only loss, giving Columbus State their only loss. So,
yeah,
think that they probably learned a lot in those first 2 weeks, played those 2 really tough opponents, and now they're ready to roll in conference season. So we'll see what they got going on the rest of the year. They're going to come back and play Greensboro in week 8. So that's going to be a big game to kind of keep circling on calendar as we move up. UNC Greensboro and Mid-Georgia State in week 8 is going to go a long way to determining who's going to go out of that conference to the conference title game.
Absolutely. All right, what conference you want to move on to next?
Where we at? We're in Atlantic. Let's go North Atlantic here. All right, we got Sacred Heart sitting at the top, defending national champions, still right there doing their thing. Haven't lost a game yet. Only played a couple. They haven't played a lot of games yet either. But we got them. Johnson and Wales sitting at 2-2, new program. Sitting at 2-2. Vermont 1-1. And Clarkson and Eastern only playing 1 game so far. We don't really know what to expect out of them. They've been pretty good the last few years, but we're not really sure yet with them only playing 1 game where they're going to be at this year.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by Eastern. You can drop a game, but the fact that we're entering week 5 of the season, they've only played 1 game. This is a team that's been pretty organized for years. Went to the playoffs 2 years ago. You've been to the conference title game. How many years in a row? Who knows? Just seems so odd to me that they've only got 1 game on the schedule thus far.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting for them, only having that 1 game, and that first game being against Sacred Heart was a big rivalry game for them. They didn't have any, at least nothing on the schedule that was like a preseason game or a scrimmage, anything beforehand to kind of get them ready. And they went down to Sacred Heart and they lost 21-7. That's kind of it's tough for them to come back from that. When Sacred Heart just facing them first, and Sacred Heart's the team to beat. Now they already lost to them, so they're looking like they're not going to have a lot of chance to get back to that playoff perspective after that big loss to Sacred Heart to open their season.
Yeah.
I must say, I'm pretty impressed with Johnson and Wales. Pleasantly surprised with them thus far, Mokes. They took a pretty close game with Sacred Heart, defending national champions this past week, 28-20 loss. they seem like a well-oiled machine to me. I think that they're a dark horse in the league. I'm excited to see what they do with the remainder of the year. I could totally see them being a playoff team here in the very near future.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, there's a couple new teams in the league that some people I've been talking to around the league and some of the conference commissioners and stuff like that, coordinators, that Johnson and Wales, one of those teams. We'll talk about Prentice School, move up a little bit, but there's some new teams in this league that are really kind of doing like what Fort Lauderdale did last year and opening up some eyes and saying, hey, we can come into the league and we can compete right away.
Absolutely.
All right.
Like you did say that was 28-20 last week. Sacred Heart beating Johnson and Wales. So Sacred Heart's definitely in the driver's seat there with the Johnson and Wales victory and with the Eastern victory. It looks like Sacred Heart's going to be finishing at least the regular season most likely as number one out of that division.
All right. Where to next?
Okay, we're up to Mid-Atlantic here, looking at Mid-Atlantic, so we can get a little bit of a talk about the apprentice school. So we had the NCFA kickoff classic game over at Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, and talking to Scott Hoffman over there, he was very impressed by the apprentice school. All right, so that was their first league game. They're 2-2. Again, they played some tough non-conference games. They're 1-0 in conference. He was very, very impressed by what they put together in that game, and thinks they're a big contender for playoff push, Final Four kind of deal, and national title game. So they're sitting atop of the Mid-Atlantic East. George Mason having another big year, especially offensively. Last year they had that connection with Justin Benisol, throwing the ball to Willie Morrow, and that's coming back again. Those two guys are making big connections. Mason fans, Mason's leadership, if you're listening, put your stats in the website, please, because they're one of the few teams that don't have it in. And I see every week, that they're advertising him throwing for all these yards. Get the stats in, because I think he's having a big year and people should know about it. Coppin State, a little bit of a surprise right now, sitting at 1-1, 1-2 overall, not scoring a lot of points. So maybe they're in a down year, but you never know about Coppin. They always come out, start a little bit slow, and then get it going on as the rest of the year progresses. Longwood looks like they're going to have a tough year. Haven't scored a point yet in 3 games. So we thought they were kind of turning the program around last year, had a decent year, and now kind of starting off on a slow leg here this year. 67 points against and no points scored.
I had heard that when they played the apprentice school, they kind of got beat up in that game to the point where they had trouble fielding a healthy roster for their follow-up game.
Gotcha. So maybe they're having some roster issues this year or whatnot. So that conference is going to be a really nice week 7, week 8 is going to be big for that part of the conference. Apprentice School and Coppin State in week 7 will be a big game. George Mason and Apprentice School in week 8. So those are a couple of big games that'll help determine who's going where in that conference.
Yeah, an impressive win for George Mason this past weekend over CCC.
True. Another nice win for them. Like I said, George Mason's that team that has such an explosive offense that, we don't know how far they can go. They can score points at anybody, it seems like. So if they can get in the right game, they're 1-0 in conference. If they can take that win now against Coppin State and Apprentice, they could be the team at the end of the day in the Mid-Atlantic East.
What are you thinking about the West?
West, we got a kind of a long jam at the top here. Ohio State, Wright State, 1-1. The big team that I think has probably been the most impressive, albeit they're sitting at 0-0 because of in conference right now, and then 1-2 because of a little bit of a player snafu there with their player rostering, is Miami. So Miami's been really, really impressive to me. A couple of wins. One of them ended up going into that forfeit because of some player issues, but go out to Oakland last week, and we'll get to the Great Lakes and how well Oakland's been playing. But Miami loses to Oakland on the last second play. So I think Mid-Atlantic West right now, you got Ohio State sitting at the top. You got Wright State sitting at 1-1. They got one of those wins in their overall as far as another forfeit issue. Pittsburgh having a better year, more competitive, but they've lost a couple of close games that's hurt them. Pittsburgh sitting at 1-2 with 76 points scored and 78 points given up. So they're right. They could be 3-0 with a couple of different bounces. But I think at the end of the day, you're probably going to see Miami kind of rise in the top of the Mid-Atlantic West, and they keep playing the way they have been playing.
All right. Now, that leaves the Great Lakes for us to talk about.
Great Lakes. So like I just alluded to a minute ago, Oakland, once again, kind of the cream of the crop in the Great Lakes East. Already beat Michigan State, already beat Eastern Michigan once. They're going to obviously play them again here, but that's going to be tough for either of those teams to come back and expect Oakland to lose 2 games out of that deal. So Oakland scored a lot of points, which is a little bit different than Oakland teams in the past. They're not giving up points, which has kind of been their MO, right? Stopping people and having really good defenses. But new head coach, offensive guy, and they are putting up a lot of points. So it looks like Oakland's probably going to continue their kind of run in the Great Lakes East this year. And then Great Lakes West is kind of a who knows right now. It might be the most exciting conference race that we'll have here going down the stretch. Doesn't look like Robert Morris Peoria is as dominant as they have been in past years. They won a close game against Southern Illinois. So Loyola is sitting right now technically at 2-0 in the conference, 3-2 overall. Robert Morris and SIUE are right down in there. But then obviously with Roosevelt and EWM not fielding teams this year, it's going to be a 3-dog race there. But if Loyola can come out and beat Robert Morris, this could be the year that Loyola finally gets over that hump and gets into the conference title game.
That'd be exciting for them.
Yeah, big time. New coach this year, and they're looking to do big things. That'd be really, really exciting for them.
All righty. Well, other things, to talk about, the power rankings came out last week. For those of you listening at home that aren't familiar with the NCFA ranking system, for the first 3 weeks, preseason, the first 3 weeks of the season, we just use a voters poll. Following the conclusion of week 4 of games, we transition into our power rankings, which takes into account more than just the voters poll. It takes into account conference win percentage, overall win percentage, and total games played. So last week, and a new power ranking will come out tomorrow. But as of last week, Sacred Heart was 1, Fort Lauderdale 2, SIUE was in the 3 spot, Ohio State 4, Oakland 5, Community Christian 6. Probably expect they're going to slip a little bit after their loss to GMU. Prentice School was at 7, probably going to be on the rise after another big win. Johnson and Wales was 8, Columbus State 9, and UNC Greenboro was at the 10 spot, rounding out the top 10 of the power rankings. So again, new power rankings will come out tomorrow afternoon, and those will include feature all the new scores and results and ballots that have come in based on this past weekend's games.
Awesome, yeah, that was exciting. There's some new names you're hearing that we haven't heard the last couple of years in some of these power rankings. Obviously, there's new programs in the league this year, but somebody like SIUE who had a little bit of, they were all really good years ago, always really good, and then had a little bit of a falling out, had some numbers problems, stepped away for a year. Now it looks like they've regrouped and they're back and they're solid again. So that was really exciting to see some of the new teams and feel like SIUE to be up and having such success early in the season.
Absolutely. All right. Well, sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Mox, I'm just going to make this a regular thing, by the way, when we do Sweet 301. Looking at the week coming up right now, we got some pretty good matchups lined up here with arguably the game of the season with Community Christian and Apprentice going at it this weekend.
So that's looking at that right now. I was just going to say the same thing. We should talk about this weekend since we're right here. But yeah, Community Christian and Apprentice School, basically, two teams that are come out of Mid-Atlantic East this week as kind of being the cream of the crop. If Community Christian can beat Apprentice School, that's gonna mess things all kinds of up. That's a big week. But also Mason and Coppin State is this week. So, if Mason goes out and beats Coppin, now Mason is legit. They are ready to roll, and that's going to make for a big game coming up between Apprentice School and Mason if Apprentice can win. But if Community Christian wins this, we might have a 3-team thing going down to the wire in the Mid-Atlantic East.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have both of those games circled as big games. I also have RMU Peoria and Loyola Chicago on my map as well. I think that's going to be a fantastic game. And then, out of the North Atlantic, I got Johnson and Wales and Eastern. I think this is a huge game for Eastern to, if they want any chance at all to pursue a playoff game, this is a huge game for them. So that game should be pretty good as well. But yeah, couldn't agree more with that Coppin State George Mason game having, if not more impact towards the playoff race than the Community Christian Apprentice game.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, Eastern loses this week. Their season is for all intents and purposes over. They're just playing it out. So they got to get a win here this week. And then we just talked about Loyola. This is their game. This is the game that if they win this game, they are in the driver's seat to win the Great Lakes West. So that's really exciting for them, I mean, they've been building that program for years, and that'd be a big game for them. They got to go down to Robert Morris Peoria, so that would put them in the driver's seat. You know, Miami, Ohio goes down to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's been playing well, so you don't know. It's not going to be a cakewalk for Miami, Ohio. It should be a good, solid game. And Michigan State playing a little JV of Alma College, a nice kind of a game for them to keep going. And a couple other games going on with Middle Georgia State and Oakland and Eastern Michigan. So good round week, but every week now coming through here, these games are getting so important as we're getting closer and closer and closer. There's only 4 teams, you know, making the Final Four, and conference title games the week before that. All these games now are just getting more important and more important and more important.
And looking at Johnson Wales at 2-1 in conference, they've got a legit. Basically, they can clinch a spot in the conference title game with a win over Eastern this weekend.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Basically,
yeah.
So if Eastern loses, they're done, and Johnson Wales is basically going to be for sure one of the top 2 teams in that conference.
Right.
That's a big week, and Eastern's got to get it turned around real quick. Otherwise, they're just going to play the string out.
All right, sounds good. Well, hey, Mogs, appreciate. Good to hear your voice again. Good to have you back on the show. Good to interact with you as well. Missed you last month. I guess we'll be talking to you next month when we'll be Sweet 301 will be right before the playoffs. So we'll have some conference game recap to talk about and so forth.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of stuff going on in there. So nice talking to you, gentlemen, and looking forward to this weekend and beyond again. Talk to you in a month.
Sounds good. Take care.
Appreciate it, Mogs.
Bye.
All right. Dave Mogs. Gridiron Breakdown with Mogs. Dave's former head coach in the NCFA. Came over to the analyst side of the table upon retiring from his coaching, hanging up his coaching hat. And it looks like we're going to go straight to... Is this Scott Hoffman, one and only?
This is the one and only Sandy Sanderson.
This is him. There's actually 2 of me. One is my dad. But so we're joined on the line with Scott Hoffman, Mid-Atlantic Regional Conference Coordinator of the NCFA, and he's going to give us a recap here about that fall kickoff and how that event went down over at Pitt.
Yeah, it was a great time. What were we looking at about a week and a half ago already? Time flies, but yeah, we had another great event at Pitt. They're always an excellent host. All the teams always rave about coming up to the Pitt Club Sports Dome. The money that it has available, and it worked out. It was great. I think about 2 minutes into the first game, a thunderstorm came through, and we got to play right through it. Pretty nice situation. So, we had a couple of very good games, 4 very competitive teams. It was a very fun event, especially that second game between Mason and Pitt that was back and forth until literally, I want to say, Pitt won the game and scored about 20 seconds to go. It was a great time.
Good, and I saw like you honored what, the Pitt offensive line or defensive line for their performance.
Yeah, I played offensive line in high school and college. I try to give the offensive line some recognition whenever I can, and the Pitt offensive line really earned that. Without them, the team would not have been able to do what they did. I mean, they really capitalized and made sure the line of scrimmage was moving in their favor nearly the entire game. And they paved the way for multiple quarterbacks or multiple running backs to score. The quarterback had plenty of time to throw. They really earned it.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the Pitt team. This is a new look for Pitt. This is the first year where they have a non-player head coach. Were you able to, and you've been around the program a little bit, having overseen their conference the last 3 years. What do you see a new attitude, new perspective coming out of the program now that they have a coach?
I would not necessarily say their attitude has generally been the same all 3 years that I've seen them. I've seen them play every year. They've always been positive. They work hard. But I think what Coach Yates gives them is the ability to be a cohesive team and function as an offense and a defense and a special teams unit so that they can play a much more efficient brand of football. And it really shows on the field this year where they could adjust in certain situations, call certain plays that I didn't see them run in the past. They were just a much smarter team. That was
Now we had Dave Mogensen on just before you, and he was talking about that. I guess you had raved to him about how good apprentice school looked. Why don't you tell us what you saw there out of them and what your thoughts were?
Oh yeah, the apprentice school. I mean, they were simply excellent at every facet of the game. They don't necessarily, from a visual perspective, they're not necessarily bigger or like look like the team that'll beat you. But what they do is they don't make mistakes. They execute everything very well. They know a lot. You can tell their offensive line talks to each other. Linebackers are calling out shifts and formations and things that you don't always necessarily see at the club level. But these guys, they have a great coaching staff. They're well run from top to bottom, and they just everywhere you look, they did everything right. They conduct themselves well. They play well. They're respectful. I mean, they're a top-notch program, and I'm happy to have them in NCFA, and more specifically the Mid-Atlantic. They're excellent representatives of the league.
All right. Well, hey, it sounds like you had a great event over there at the Pitt Club Sports Dome, and you'll be back there again, right? Not too long.
Yep, Mid-Atlantic Championship game will be there a couple weeks before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, absolutely. And who do you think is going to come out of the East?
Out of the East right now, the Mason alumni may catch some flack for this, but I'm picking Apprentice right now.
Wow.
I get it. But hey, they control their own destiny. They can win on the field and get their way there. How about out of the West?
Out of the West, I'm having a hard time choosing between Ohio State and Miami. Right now, I'm leaning toward the Buckeyes. Once again, I might be a little biased there, but I'll go with Ohio State for now.
All right. And they've never been to the conference championship game, have they?
No. Miami is usually the dominant force in that whatever conference they've been in. I know things have shifted around, but normally Miami is a dominant force. They'll still be a force to be reckoned with.
All right. Well, hey, Scott, we appreciate you taking some time to call in and talk to us. And congrats on another good fall kickoff. And look forward to speaking with you soon.
Thanks a lot. Great talking to you guys.
Thanks, Scott.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up the NCFA segment, unless you've got something to add.
No, I'm looking forward to the second half of this season. But while I'm on here, I do want to stress to whoever's tuning in team-wise to make sure you guys are submitting all your stuff in on time. You heard Mogs talk about George Mason getting your stats up. It's something that we stress, and we can't say it enough. It's just taking ownership of getting that done, and hopefully we can see a wider range of Player of the Weeks, All-American nods as we approach the end of this season. So, other than that, that's all I got. I'm just excited to see these last few games, see how everything turns out for the playoffs. So
absolutely. All right, Joe, thank you. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with some NCBBA basketball updates.
The game is the official headwear sponsor of Coal Club Sports. They offer an early order discount to all of our leagues on top of their already low prices. Go to thegameheadwear.com and check out their wide selection of on-the-field hats, off-the-field beanies, and visors. Contact Felicia Battaglia at coalclubsports.com for all of your headwear needs.
Fundraiser is the official fundraising platform of Coal Club Sports. Teams have the opportunity to create a free online campaign to begin accepting donations in hopes of reaching their fundraising goals. Please be sure to contact Coal Club Sports for more information on this amazing platform for all of your team's fundraising needs.
All right, we're welcome back, and I'm joined here with Zach Ramirez, Assistant Director of Basketball Operations. Join me on set. Zach, welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
You want to jack that chair up? It's
I was going to say, follow up Joe,
Yeah, I can't even see you down there. All right, there you go. All right. So we're going to talk about some basketball stuff here, and one of the big announcements on the football side was the national championship venue. Similar announcement. has recently been posted about basketball. You want to run us through?
Yeah, so we're headed back to South Bend, Indiana. Going back, this is the second season, I believe, right?
Second year in a row.
Yeah, so from what I'm told, great venue. A lot of cool things as far as locker rooms, really nice. Good fit for the size of the national championship. Same thing with football, not too big, but you get a good feel for the atmosphere there once it gets going. So
absolutely, yeah. And what it does is the smaller gymnasium size, smaller arena size helps to kind of puts the crowd into play. You get some momentum. You hear the cheers. You hear the foot stomps as the rallies are going, and great people to work with there in South Bend. Nick Cleva over there. Visit Mishawaka. What's the county? Mishawaka. Anyway, the South Bend Tourism. They do a great job. We got a great hotel on board for this year. I'm gonna look to spruce up the event even more. Just not far from Chicago, which makes it a pretty easy flight to anybody to get into Chicago. So great location. We're excited to be returning for a second year. And the dates for that this year will be April 12th to the 14th. The teams voted to move it back this year a little bit in order to move back the regional playoffs, try to get those away from conflicts with spring break. And so April 12th to 14th, that's the target goal. And excited to be heading there. Some other updates around the league. We've 99% of all conference schedules have been released. Mm-hmm. The only one that hasn't is the new South Atlantic South Conference. We've added quite a number of new teams this offseason. We're up to 120. Last year, if you're not aware, we were at 101 teams in the league. Now we're up to 120. We've created some new conferences. The South Atlantic is completely reshaped. And we're excited about it. The South Atlantic South is the only one that doesn't have its schedule out yet. Florida State, Nova Southeastern, Florida Gulf Coast are the three teams comprising that conference right now, but we're talking to three more teams who are looking to come on board for this year to expand that conference, hopefully up to 6, and get the 6 is a real good number to work with in a conference. So hopefully they'll be coming on by the end of the week, and we can knock that conference schedule out next week because season begins soon, November 1st.
November 1st, right around the corner.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff.
Absolutely. And some of the the things teams should be working on right now is the team preview forms,
right.
Which have come out. That's where teams fill those out. It's like a brag sheet. You brag about your team. Hey, here's who we got back. Here's our stars. Here's our studs. Here's our new guys. Here's our returners. Here's how we did last year. Here's how we think we're going to progress this year moving forward. And that gets used by the voting committee to create the preseason polls, top 20. And that should be released at the end of the month as well. And then, again, teams should be working on getting their rosters in, getting their players registered online, getting your academic forms in, because we are just a couple of weeks from tip-off of the season. Mm-hmm. One of the things I'm excited about this season is a new rule change regarding non-conference games. Non-conference games that are played with a running clock can now be counted in the standings. So it's going to create a bigger opportunity for teams to count more games within the NCBBA so they can get more stats for their players. It'll help at the end of the year being able to evaluate potential All-Americans, all-regional winners, and things like that. So good stuff. Anything you want to talk about before we get on our special guest?
Yeah, I just love that the whole adding the 20-minute running clock games. You think of tournaments, all these different opportunities where teams go out and play, and another opportunity to get those stats up, get your record, get a little bit of traction going into regional playoffs and whatnot. Looks like
absolutely. Now, don't be mistaken. Conference games are still played NCAA style with a stop clock. All right. Joined on the phone with Tim Pugh from Harvard. How you doing, Tim?
Good. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. Welcome to Suite 301.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on.
This is your first appearance, correct?
Yeah, this is my first time on the show.
Now, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but while you're probably nice and warm up there in Boston, Massachusetts, you're really a Pittsburgh guy, right?
Yeah. I'm from Pittsburgh. Love Pittsburgh. A lot of Pittsburgh pride. Big Steelers win this weekend. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it. I was at a pumpkin patch with my family, but doing the domesticated lifestyle. But I was following, so they needed that win. So, well, Tim, when you come home for Christmas or Thanksgiving, we might have to get you physically on the set for one of these shows.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. All right, but we're all right. Enough about you, Tim. It's not. There's no I in team. Let's talk about the Harvard Classics. Had a great run last year. Your president, Kelly, did a great job turning the program around last year. Takes you guys to the national title game. How do you take the next step and actually hoist that trophy next year?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We lost Kelly, we lost some other good seniors, Fry Levy, Aiden DeWar, but I think this season we've got a lot of good returning players. Paul Ramsey really had a great performance at the national championship last year. Shane O'Donoghue, he did airball the free throw in the last minute of the semifinal game, but he's been working on his free throws all off season. He made 2 free throws in a scrimmage this weekend, so a lot of the returning players coming back have been practicing a lot this off season, so we should have just as good of a team, if not better, this season, hopefully.
All right. Was there anything your team took away from the national championship run last year that you think will get put into the program this year in terms of how you approach the games this season, the league, and to try to take that next step?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from that tournament last year was just like getting the taste of going to the national championship, getting the taste of winning regionals, and I think our team really loved that taste. Like, we want more of that. We want to go back. We want to be back at the national championship this year and ready to at least make it back to the final and hopefully lift the trophy.
Now, do you have? You mentioned you lost some big seniors that were important last year, but you've got some of your cores returning and working on their skills. Talk to us about some new guys. Have you had your tryouts yet? Have you found a couple diamonds in the rough or incoming freshmen that you think are going to make an impact?
Yeah. So we have had our tryouts yet. We've added a few new players. One guy I definitely think that is going to be a big help for us this year is Seven Richmond. He's a point guard from Cleveland, so we have a little Pittsburgh-Cleveland rivalry at practice, but he's got great ball handling ability and can also shoot.
All right.
And then another new guy who's good as a freshman, Luke Jordan. He plays a lot of great defense, and he's just active hands on defense. He's getting a lot of steals in practices already, and we're excited to see what he can do in games.
Cool. All right. Well, one of the other things that we spoke earlier this summer about the addition. Harvard now has 2 teams in the league, and when you and I spoke at length a little bit this summer about it, so I could understand. It's not like we see teams that add a B team, an A and a B team, because they've got so many numbers. But that's not the case up there at Harvard. You explained that we have a second club. They're a different organization. They're a different group of guys. Does this, with them coming on board the league, does that automatically make them your number one rival?
Yeah, so I think last year our number one rival was PC. We had a few big regular season games with them, and then we faced them again in the regional championship. And so that was a big rivalry. This year there was some realignment, so they're no longer in our conference. So now we're with Harvard, and we're with UMass Lowell still from last year. And I think the Harvard Hoopsters definitely are our biggest rival this year. A lot of freshmen on campus try out for both teams and then decide which one they want to join. And there's actually one kid who we thought he was good, but then he decided to join the other team instead. So I think maybe that's just going to be a huge game that we've marked on our schedules already, and we're looking forward to prove that we're the best team on campus.
All right. Now, I assume you're going to schedule some non-conference matchups with BC, right? Since
we're probably going to reach out to them soon to try to get that done, because I know we did have some super competitive games against them this year, and now I don't know, some of our team looking at our conference for this year, there's kind of the perception that they think it's a little weaker than it was last year without BC, I think Northeastern was there last year too, so just important for us to stay focused every game this season. Every regular season game matters, and we're trying to go 21-0 and back to the regional championship. So we just got to stay focused every game.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you've got a good shot to see BC there in that regional title if you can get through the North Conference. All right, Tim. Well, Zach, you got anything to add here?
Yeah, just a quick question, Tim. Looking at it, going back to last year, looking at your regional tournament, I mean, you go and you beat a very good Boston College team, finished with 20 wins total on the season. You beat Holy Cross, and then you go to the national championship as a 5 seed. You take on number 4 Princeton in a nail biter, end up winning, edging them out there, beating the number 1 seed Michigan, and then losing to eventual champion Ohio State. What are you guys doing to prepare for that again? Like non-conference games? How do you guys prepare for a run like that again?
Yeah, I think one big factor that went into the run last year, and is going to stay with us is just I feel like a lot of our guys feel like they're playing with a chip on our shoulder. Like last year, we did have the great regular season. We beat BC by 20 in the conference championship. We're ranked 2nd in the country, but then we got the 5 seed, and I think that upset a lot of guys and really got them focused for those national championship games against Princeton and Michigan. Because it did feel like we were playing with a chip on our shoulder. We weren't getting like the love that we thought we deserved with the seeding and the rankings. I don't think we got one first place vote all season, and a lot of our guys felt like that we deserved one. And so, I don't know, we're waiting for the rankings to come out this year, but not a lot of people think of Harvard as a basketball school, as a club basketball school, so there's never like expectations on our side. So just playing with that chip really helps us prepare and helps us focus for all these games.
Well, I'm glad we were able to put that chip on your shoulder and lead you to motivate you to such a great final run to the season. So, well, hey, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You're smack dab on everybody's radar in the NCBA community. So nobody's going to roll into your gymnasium, or you're not going to roll onto a campus and someone's going to think that you guys aren't good at basketball.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks, Tim. We appreciate you taking the time to join us on the show.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon.
Yes, take care. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our basketball segment of the show. Sweet 301 here today. Zach, parting words before I give you the boot?
Yeah, just rosters, all that roster information, NCBBA-wise, has gone out. Should have received it via email for all those teams out there. We're looking to get those starting to go a little sooner than later so we can get it all ready to go once, game time starts coming up. Team previews, as Sandy hit on earlier. But yeah, just like Joe said earlier, staying on top of it is huge. So
right, absolutely. Yeah. All right, well, we're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be on to NCBA baseball.
Rawlings is proud to be partnered with Call Club Sports. If your team is in need of any products that Rawlings has to offer, contact us today. Rawlings, the finest in the field.
Fundraiser is the official fundraising platform of Cole Club Sports. Teams have the opportunity to create a free online campaign to begin accepting donations in hopes of reaching their fundraising goals. Please be sure to contact Cole Club Sports for more information on this amazing platform for all of your team's fundraising needs.
All right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that little commercial break. Joined on the set with Christian Smith, VP of Baseball Ops. How are you, Smith? It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be seen.
Good.
All right, well, let's talk to me about some NCBA stuff. What's going on?
Well, the big news, at least at the Division I level, was the announcement that we're going back to Holly Springs, North Carolina, for the Division I World Series, which I know us as a staff are really thrilled about, and I think the teams are really excited about before getting the contract inked. A lot of teams have been reaching out to me about where are we going? Are we going back to Holly Springs? We'd love to go back to Holly Springs. Obviously, the teams that made it the last few years. So really excited about it. We are there for 2019. There's an option for 2020. Hopefully, we get to exercise that option, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's exciting news. It's a beautiful ballpark. It's right outside of Raleigh, so there's plenty to do away from the field. So all in all, just a great deal for us, for the teams. And I think the teams are the 8 teams that participate, they're gonna absolutely love it. So.
And the teams that have been there, if you know a team in your conference that's been there before, ask them. They're going to tell you it's spectacular. It is by far the best venue we've ever had to play these games.
Absolutely.
The field size, the turf, the facilities, the dugouts, from the fans' perspective, it's got great views from the stands to watch the game. Great outdoor patios where you can go watch from beyond the right field wall. You can get out of the rain, get out of the sun. There's protection there. You can get out and get a tan if you want. If you want to step out from under the cover. From a staff perspective, the press box area, it's got all the facilities we need to do our press conferences, our media blitzes, and things like that. Parking, literally everything about the place is just perfect.
Yeah, I think the only box that it might not check is it being centrally located. But I mean, you ask like Oregon, who was there last year, Nevada, who's been there in years past. Even these teams on the West Coast, I think they'll even say that it's worth the trip going out there across the country. I mean, it's a fantastic stadium, and obviously for the teams, we want you guys, the 8 teams participating, we want them to have the best experience possible. Something that they're going to remember for the rest of their life, and being able to play in that stadium, is something they'll not soon forget. So
absolutely,
really, really excited about it. We'll have, make sure you're staying tuned to the D1 World Series webpage on the NCBA website for more updates as they come in. There should be a host hotel here signed here in the next week or so, I would think. So just make sure you're staying on top of that, staying on top of the Facebook pages. We also release a lot of stuff through there as well. So that's the big news. Obviously, we have, the season's happening right now for the teams that are eligible to play in the fall. I know you guys have been touching on it all show, but baseball as well. It's about getting your rosters in. I think from a fall standpoint, the vast majority of teams have gotten their rosters in, but there are some teams that still owe us a roster. So make sure you're getting that completed. We've reached out to you already about that. That's the biggest thing as far as housekeeping things going on. We have added some new teams this year. I know Garrett has been releasing those on the social media accounts as those have come in. But as of right now, we got Florida International, Creighton University, Cal State University Channel Islands, Houston Downtown, Abilene Christian, Lone Star, Cy-Fair, Marist, Millersville, Hobart, and Minnesota Duluth. I know he's working with a few other new teams coming on board. So again, just stay tuned. We're excited about our growth this year. And as far as realignment goes, Division I has been completed for quite a while now. Division II, same thing. Might just be adding a couple pieces or a couple new teams at the Division II level, but I think for the most part, realignment is set in D1 and D2. At the D3 level, we're still adding new teams. Any new teams that come on board will be going into Division III. So we'll have some realignment at the D3 level still happening, until basically the end of the fall season. So Garrett will be on top of you with those types of things. Any updates regarding the realignment at D3 level? Guess some other things just to jump into. Spring training showcase registration is open. You've been there many times.
Oh, yeah.
I've been down there. It's an amazing experience. I think Tracy gave me some stat where, the teams that participate, it's not apples to apples comparison, but the teams that do participate in spring training showcase, the majority of these, or the teams that make it to the regional, I should say, are teams that participate in the spring training showcase. And I think it does correlate in the fact that, these guys, it's a bonding experience, a big bonding experience, but they're all able to get their rust off before the conference season starts.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's a team sport, it's a team identity. Often when you're working out, you got freshmen and seniors interacting in the gym indoors in the winter. They're not really getting to know each other. Throw them on a bus for a week, and you go down to Florida and you share some memories. Next thing you know, you build this cohesiveness that is invaluable. And then not to mention the fact that, hey, you haven't thrown a baseball outside yet. Go to Florida. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. Down there you play. You learn about your team. You decide this is our number 1 starter, not our number 3. This is our 2. You learn about your team down there. You get that rust off. You come back to win the conference play, and that's what really matters. And you've got 4, 5, 6 games under your belt already.
And they count towards your record.
And they count towards your record, too.
It's a non-conference game. They're counting towards your record. You're knocking off your 3 required non-conference games. You're getting to play baseball, getting that rust off before conference play. And not to mention, excuse me, it's not just baseball. It's spring break, too. I mean, teams, you make your schedule. If you want to play 2 games, you can play 2 games. If you want to play 3 games, you can play 3 games. If you want to play 8 games, you can play 8 games during the week. We tailor the schedule to you so that you can, if you want it really baseball specific, we'll give you a lot of baseball games. But if you want to have just, play a couple games and then get out to the beach and have the typical college spring break, you can do that. So it's really a win-win across the board. I know a lot of teams, their biggest thing is funding and how to fund to get down there. But we have a lot of fundraisers that teams can participate in. So there really should be no excuse to not go. I mean, it's an absolute blast. You'll have fun. Our retention rate for this event is through the roof. So teams that go down once go back every year. So that shows you right there that teams love it, and I know Tracy's doing a great job with it.
And there's another opportunity here to play teams you normally wouldn't get to
Yes.
face.
Yeah.
You might be from Massachusetts and you get to play a team from Missouri.
Yep.
Who else? You wouldn't normally face them. So.
Yep. So registration is open. If you get your registration payments in before November 15th, which is in about a month, exactly a month, you can save $75. So any questions about spring training, reach out to Tracy Reardon. She's all over the website. You can even reach out to Garrett Seamek, who's the assistant director at spring training. So highly recommend you guys taking part in the spring training showcase. For the teams out west, we are getting the west. We're just waiting for the fields to be allocated to us. We will have a spring training west. There's no question about that. It's just a matter on the dates when that is going to take place, and that's just a function of Henderson and their field allocation process. But a lot of those teams out west who kind of feel slighted not having a showcase out west, we have that for you guys. We've talked to a lot of you, so just stay tuned, stay patient. We will have those dates for you coming up here shortly. So again, just make sure you're reaching out to us, staying tuned on social media and things like that, the website, so that you're up to date with that.
Let's move on to some fall tournament stuff. You hosted the
Butler County Classic.
Butler County Classic, and that took place in Butler County, PA, not far from here.
Yep.
Talk to me about how that went down.
It went great.
We're joined by a great caller from the winning team, right?
Yeah, it went great. We had some sketchy weather come through Friday night. It was Saturday. The tournament was Saturday, Sunday. We had sketchy weather come through Friday night. That I was a little concerned that we might not be able to get the tournament, at least the entire tournament, in. But fields held up really well, and it went really well. I think the teams appreciated it. It was early on in the season. They were able to get out, and I think we can talk to Dave from Brockport about this, but I think a lot of the teams use these fall tournaments as just a opportunity to get looks at guys. It's really not about winning or losing the tournament. It's more just getting work in heading into the fall conference series, conference series. So we'll talk to Dave more about that. Dave, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, to chime in on what you're saying there, I know I've heard a lot of teams in the past like these fall tournaments because it's almost like an extended tryout. Absolutely. They have their tryouts. Maybe they cut down to 30 guys. They really want to be at 25, and they're just not sure who the 5 are going to be. They let go. Here's a chance to bring them in, throw them into a game situation, and see how they do. And then they can walk away and say, hey, when it comes to the game situation, this guy needs to be elsewhere.
Dave.
How's it going?
Hey, Christian Smith, Sandy Sanderson in the Suite 301. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you?
Brockport guy, huh?
Yeah, SUNY Brockport.
Beautiful. Good to have you on the show. Congratulations, too.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, Dave, I wanted to. It was nice meeting you in person down at the event. I was very impressed with your team. And one thing that I may be biased about, but we talked about it a little bit in Butler when you were there, is I really feel the North Atlantic West, top to bottom, is probably the strongest conference in the whole NCBA. It's been primarily dominated by Penn State and Pitt. But we had Slippery Rock join it last year. They made it to the regionals as a wild card. You've been a team, Brockport, since you guys have moved up to D1. You've always been a team that's been right around the 500 mark. But after seeing you guys play in this fall tournament, I was really impressed with your pitching. You guys just looked like a solid baseball team. And I was really impressed with your play. But not even talking really about the tournament, but how do you guys, what's the outlook for this year? What is the goal? Is it to win the conference? Is it to try and get an at-large bid? What is your mindset going into the season?
Right. I just want to first of all thank you for those compliments. We're a really hardworking group of guys. We're not the most talented, actually, believe it or not, compared to years past. But this year we just have a good group of guys that want to win and have a smile on their face while they're doing it. They all love playing baseball and doing their thing. Basically, our outlook for this year, we just want to take it game by game. And as you said, this is the toughest in the country. Got the reigning national championship champions, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Slippery Rock, Syracuse, Cornell, all great programs. So we just take it game by game, and we prepare during the week. I have guys that are just really hardworking in the classroom, and we have good team chemistry, camaraderie. We come to practice, we're having fun, making the plays, and I just tip my hat to my guys. They're just a good group of guys, and we came into that tournament a little optimistic. We didn't really know what we'd expect. We knew we were playing Ohio, Cleveland State, and Indiana, PA. Down in Florida, the year prior, we had a hard time with those teams. We weren't connecting as a group. We weren't playing the game the right way, and I think we just went in there focused, and we beat an annually national ranked team from Ohio, and that was a big push for us for that tournament. We beat that team. I was like, look, guys, we're a solid group, and they really took that to heart, and we ended up winning the championship. So that was awesome. Yeah,
and I thought you guys played really, really well. You were just a solid team. You played really well defensively. How did you guys? We were talking a little bit, Sandy and I, before you came on the show. How did you guys approach this fall tournament? Sandy and I were discussing, a lot of teams use these fall tournaments because they're all exhibition games as, an extended tryout, getting looks at guys. Some are just carrying their, normal roster and are playing to win it. Other guys are just, like I said, trying to get looks. How did you guys come to this fall tournament? What was your goal, so to speak?
So, right. The year prior, we didn't attend a tournament, and I thought that was a mistake. My first year on the team, which was fall of 2016, 2017 spring, we went down to State College when it was held there, and we basically used that tournament as to see how guys played and to get a feel for the team. And we didn't go the year prior, and I really felt that it was important for us to get back to a tournament. We played a non-conference doubleheader against University of Buffalo, another very good Division II school, and we ended up splitting that doubleheader, and we just, from that we were motivated. We wanted to go down to the tournament and win. I got pretty much everyone in a game, which was awesome. We have 25 guys on the roster, and they all were producing, whether it be coming off the bench, getting a big hit, making the plays in the field, or just being a good teammate. So I was really looking for that. I was looking who can step up in the big spot, and everyone really executed well. But yeah, we used that tournament to win. We we want to play every game to win, and just not really care about the score until the end, and just work hard, make the right plays, and we did that all tournament. I was really proud of them.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like it's paying off. I mean, right after that tournament, I think the next weekend you played Slippery Rock, which again is a team that made the at-large bid last year, and you guys took 2 or 3 from them, correct?
Yeah, we took 2 or 3 from them. We were actually playing behind in the tournament in a couple of games. I think the first 2 games, and we came back and we won those games. First game against Slippery Rock was the same way. We ended up hitting we were down 2-1 in the 7th. Ended up winning. Actually, we were down 3-2, and ended up winning 4-3 in the 7th. And that's the great thing about my guys, that all of them they don't give up. They just keep fighting. They just keep hitting away, making the plays, and that's what we've been emphasizing at practice, is work hard. It's like, don't give up, because in this league, in this conference as well, anything can happen. And we've seen it every year where a team takes one from a big school, and now all of a sudden we're in contention. We just got to focus on ourselves and just not fighting and not giving up, and just keep fighting. And I really thank my guys for in practice. We only go for like an hour, 10 minutes, but that hour and 10 minutes, we're sweating, we're doing our thing, we're having fun, and it's been a great fall, to say the least.
Well, good, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys do. You guys are 4-2 right now in conference, is that correct?
Yeah, in the conference right now we're 4-2.
Yeah, so I mean, you took 2 out of 3 from 2 of your conference opponents. That's winning series. So I know there's still a lot of competition left to play, but I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys compete this year. I've always thought you guys were, just on the cusp of, definitely being an at-large team, and I think this year might be that year where you're going to be challenging for second place, if not a conference title. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you do, and wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you, Christian. I appreciate it. We're going to keep working hard.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Thanks.
Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
See you, bud.
Bye. All right. Dave Fendrick,
yeah,
SUNY Brockport.
He's a great coach, too. He really had great control of his guys, and they just looked like a solid team. They really, really did. And I know that a lot of teams don't put a lot of stock in these fall tournaments and how they play out, but they looked like the best team there, hands down. They deserved to win it, and it's like I said, it wasn't just a fluke. They took 2 or 3 the next weekend from Slippery Rock, and
I like what he brought up about how this gave them participating in this tournament gave them the opportunity to see their team in certain situations.
Yes.
Down late in the game, coming from behind, that they can later, when those games are more meaningful in conference play, you can turn around and say, hey, we did it 2 weeks ago against a nationally ranked team. We can do it today against this team.
Absolutely.
And gives the guys belief and confidence and faith in each other, and the same sort of learning experience you get from spring training too.
Yep.
It's kind of things you can get. Who's good in the clutch, and so forth. So, all right. Well, we're the Butler County Classic was not the only fall tournament we've held so far. The Battle Creek Blast took place up in Battle Creek, Michigan, a couple weeks ago, and we're going to be joined by the president or co-president of Michigan Club Baseball, the Wolverines, who won that tournament as well. So we're going to be joined shortly here with Daniel Koller Gazuski.
I don't think that's probably how you say it, but we can find out. Hey, Daniel, it's Christian Smith and Sandy Sanderson. Welcome to Suite 301.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing great.
Doing well, man. Thank you.
Love your energy.
Yeah, we do.
Daniel, we got a question. How do you pronounce your last name?
Koller Gazuski. Tough one. A little Eastern European. So
okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You can call me KG though.
KG. I like it. There we go.
KG. I want to talk. We're obviously, have you on the line. We want to talk about the Battle Creek Blast. First and foremost, congratulations on winning that. It was an impressive field. A lot of big name programs. You had a lot of Division I talent there. Yourself, University of Pittsburgh, Bowling Green, Central Michigan, just to name a few. So tell us about your experience with the Battle Creek Blast. Have you participated in before? What was your goal going into it? We were talking to Dave from Brockport over at the Butler County Classic. They kind of approached it to win it, but we're putting guys in to get an idea of how players would react to certain situations. So how did you approach this tournament?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot for the congratulations. I've been on the team for 4 years now. We've gone there every year. It's always a lot of fun. It's always pretty much our first game because we start school pretty late. So we really, have the mindset going in of just, trying to get people innings. Tryouts are pretty much the week before. We're just getting the guys together, get a couple practices under our belt, and these times of games to really get people innings. And thankfully, we've in the past few years been able to go deep into the tournament. I think we've been to the championship game 3 years in a row now. So it's been really allowed us to get a lot of innings for everyone and really see what we have. So we kind of want to really see what people have and get everyone innings and see what our starters are like. See move people around, see where people can play. So that's really the focus of the first few games. But as you continue to get deeper and deeper in the tournament, by the championship, that's really probably playing to win it there.
Yeah, of course.
We put a good lineup together, and we got the job done this year, so it was a lot of fun.
Well, it looks like from how it all played out, I mean, your pool was extremely competitive. You had the University of Pittsburgh, Eastern Michigan, Grand Valley State, all in the Pool B. Grand Valley State, and Pitt all finished 2-1.
That was a really tough conference. Yeah,
and
we barely sucked. We were watching the tournament the last couple. We were sitting at home. We won our third game, thankfully. So we were sitting there, and thankfully some things worked out for us. So we snuck in, and it worked out from there.
Well, tell us. I mean, you got to play. You get the 4 seed as the wild card, but you get to play Central Michigan, who's a conference opponent of yours. How did you approach that game? What did they look like? Did you learn some stuff from that game?
Definitely, yeah. No, it was fun being able to kind of scout out another team in the division that's definitely going to have a good year. They came out hot. They were good. They smacked us around in the first couple innings, and we actually had to really kind of claw our way back into that game. It really came down to the wire. They're a really good team. They had a lot of good pitching. Thankfully, I think we had a little more depth. It seemed like they kind of ran out of pitching at the end. They were getting some tired arms, and thankfully our guys held up. We kind of had a miracle rally in the last inning. We were down by 3, I think, 3 or 4 with 2 outs, 2 strikes. Able to string together with a couple walks, a couple really clutch hits. Put up, I think, a 7 or 8 spot in that inning, and we were able to take that game and really roll that momentum through the pit. Also another good team. But yeah, Central's definitely a good team. Like kind of showing what we have to do in our division to be successful this year. And it's just really, really good experience playing them and getting in shape, knocking off the rust against that team.
And let's talk about the championship game. I mean, you guys beat a very good program in the University of Pittsburgh 7-0. How did that game pan out?
Yeah, so we lost in the pool play. We kind of flat-footed it from the first time, had a bad inning, and we really wanted. We had a little chip on our shoulder from that game, and really wanted to fight back. So we came that game hungry. We were able to save a couple guys. So we had some fresh arms. Andrew Schaefer came through and threw some really good innings. We had a rookie, Jordan Rappaport, who actually ended the first game, and we had him ended up starting the second game. And he really came through and threw some really good innings for us. And we just kept foot to the gas. Had some big hits. Parker Marcone had a great game. He was all league last year, and at the top of our order, always gets started. The other co-president, Jack Pelletier, the anchor out in right field, and he had a great series as well. And we really came together as a team and just strung a couple hits together and late in the innings, we were able to close it out.
Well, congratulations. I mean, it's a lot of baseball in a short amount of time, and I know pitching is the big thing. And you beat a lot of good, talented teams. So before I guess I let you go, what's the season outlook this year? I mean, I know Michigan State is usually, or at least of recently, has been the team winning the conference. But how do you guys see you playing this year?
Well, definitely. I think it was a really good experience. You know, we snuck in as a wild card last year at the regionals, and we didn't really expect it, so we kind of came out flat-footed. You know, we haven't practiced in a little while, but it really showed us where we need to be successful and really compete in regionals. Playing Wisconsin, I think we played Indiana as well, and that really showed us what we needed to do. So coming into this season, I think we lost a couple key seniors, but the rookie class, I think we had a really good rookie class with some really deep arms to add to our bullpen and a couple fireballers to close down the game. And I think our lineup's just really deep. We got a couple boppers at the top of the order, but you know we have a lot of good contact guys down at the bottom. So you know we're gonna really focus on putting the ball in play, and I really think the strength of our team is going to be our pitching and our bullpen, and just how many quality arms we have to throw out there against the competition. I think we're really going to make an impact in the league. And yeah, Michigan State, those games have kind of stung ever since we've always taken it, I think, 3 years in a row now. And, you know, those games, they've always been really hard-fought games, really close games. We had a couple of bad breaks over the years, I feel like, but we're going to come out chomping this year. Hopefully we can smack them in the mouth. I just think the conference has gotten a lot better, and we know that, and we have to adjust. And I think we're doing a really good job of doing that this year. So, yeah. Hopefully make it back to regionals and do some damage there, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we'd love to see you down in Holly Springs this year at the World Series. If you and the Wolverines can make your way there.
That would be awesome. We just got to stomp Wisconsin like we did in football. So I got to throw that one out. Yeah.
All right, KG. We appreciate your time on the show, and good luck this year, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a good one, guys.
No problem. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Nice, good interview from Michigan. The Wolverines having a good fall.
Yeah, man.
They've only made it to the World Series once, but like you said, Michigan State's been pretty hot the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean it's you know, the Great Lakes is a tough conference. It's Wisconsin's usually the powerhouse, and you know, Michigan State's made it a few years, so hopefully Michigan will, you know, use this fall tournament as some motivation that they can beat some big name programs and make it down to Holly Springs, like you said. So
all right. Well, Christian, I appreciate having you on the show. That's going to conclude our baseball segment. So we're going to head to a commercial break and come back with Savannah with some softball action. So, Christian, thanks again. We'll be back in a sec.
The game is the official headwear sponsor of Cole Club Sports. They offer an early order discount to all of our leagues on top of their already low prices. Go to thegameheadwear.com and check out their wide selection of on-the-field hats, off-the-field beanies, and visors. Contact Felicia Battaglia at coleclubsports.com for all of your headwear needs.
Rawlings is proud to be partnered with Call Club Sports. If your team is in need of any products that Rawlings has to offer, contact us today. Rawlings, the finest in the field.
All right, we're back, and I apologize. I thought Christian was leaving, but nope, I reeled him in. I talked him into sticking around and helping me through this next segment. Hey, we're on to some softball action. NCSA softball up in this house. We're in season, and we're joined on the line with Savannah Aarons, new mother-to-be again, and VP of softball operations. Savannah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, of course. So what's going on? What's going on in the softball world? Bring us up to speed.
Lots going on. We've had 5 weeks of conference play already, and it's been kind of crazy already this season. The weather's cooperated well, so we haven't had too much rescheduling, which has been great, and we've had some great competition so far. And we've had 2 fall tournaments already. I know we were supposed to have Kat Trotter on from Illinois, and hopefully we will be able to get her on next month as well, so that she can talk about their big win at the Indy Invitational.
All right. Well, so where do we want to talk? Where do we want to start?
Polls.
Any polls? Let's start with the polls.
Sure, let's talk about the polls.
Maybe up top, number 1, defending champs.
Yep. number one defending champs. They're doing well this season so far. They actually came out to Colorado and played a non-conference game against Air Force last weekend. And it was a tight game, but they ended up coming out on top. So definitely a test for them. They came a long way to play one game.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a long trip for one softball game.
Well, and when your football teams play each other, it helps.
I guess so.
You can hop a ride on a plane.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so Navy's number one still. Having a good season. Look like they're going to – you think they'll got a good shot to defend their title?
Definitely. They have, a ton of their, players have returned. I think they only lost 2. They still have their MVP pitcher from the World Series last year. And they're pretty deep in pitching, just in general. They've got 3 or 4 girls that they could throw at any time that are really, really good. So I definitely think that they're going to make another run this year. But they're in a tough conference, so who knows how the regional's going to play off for them if they make it. So.
All right, number 2 in the polls, Illinois, getting some love. I take it after their Indy Invitational win.
Yep, absolutely. They went undefeated at the Indy Invitational tournament this year, and they looked really good. And obviously, people took notice, jumping them up, giving them 2 number 1 votes as well, as you can see. So, interested to see how the rest of their season plays out. They won 2 of the first ever World Series, and haven't won any since. So that'd be interesting to see them make another run. 10 years later.
Right. JMU, perennial powerhouse in the NCSA, coming in the 3 spot.
Yep, absolutely. And that's just, I think, out of mad respect for them and their, like you said, perennial powerhouse. So they haven't played a whole lot of conference stuff, but they did play in the first state showdown this past weekend, going undefeated in pool play, but then falling short on elimination day. So definitely that was a very interesting tournament, super competitive, and it was great to see JMU playing teams that are outside of that Mid-Atlantic region.
Now Arkansas State comes in the 4th spot, down from number 2. How do you explain why you think they slipped a little bit?
I actually expect them to slip even further for our November poll. This past weekend, the Zoo actually took 2 or 3 from them in conference play. So this was obviously after the October poll had came out. So I'm really interested to see how Arkansas State battles back after that conference series loss. It's their first ever conference series loss ever.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow. Puts them on, gives them a big uphill climb to get into the regionals, huh?
Absolutely. But if there's any, program that can do it, it would definitely be them. So I'm sure they're going to be working hard.
All right. Well, I'm going to run through some more here. Florida State, number 5. Grand Valley, number 6. Delaware, number 7. Any big news amongst those 3 teams?
Delaware at number 7, our first state showdown champion. That was the tournament that we just had this past weekend in their home state, in Wilmington, Delaware. So I expect we may even see them jump up a few additionally in the November poll, just out of respect for them winning that incredibly competitive tournament. So, and then if you see Michigan State coming in at number 8, they were unranked coming into the preseason. So really excited to see them jump this huge jump to number 8, and that's a testament because they battled hard in the Indy Invitational tournament and ended up playing in the championship game against Illinois. So huge props to those 2 conferences, those 2 regions out there, the Great Lakes and the Great American. It's going to be a battle all year long. It really is.
All right. And then we got, in the 9th spot, we got Central Michigan, and then tied to round out the top 10, we have 2 teams tied at 10, Air Force and Rutgers. Both of those teams climbed a good bit to get up to that position.
Yep, definitely. They've had a great conference, series. Both of them have had 2 conference series, and they're undefeated so far in conference play, both of those teams. So makes total sense that they deserve a jump.
All right, sounds good. Any other diamonds in the rough you want to talk about on the polls before we move on?
Sure. I mean, we see App State coming in at number 19. I think this is a huge sleeper for me. They have shown very well in their first season as a brand new team. Coming out, they're currently 5-1 right now in conference play, and so I'm really looking forward to see them in their matchup against Clemson in the spring. That may be very well determining that conference play. It's the conference winner, including throwing Tennessee as a brand new team into the mix, and they've done fairly well as well. So, really excited to see how these new teams are shaking everything up.
All right. And then you got Missouri currently at number 20. You just said they had the big upset over Arkansas State, so they'll probably be on the rise come November, too.
Yep. I fully expect them to get some respect for that.
Expect the respect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put that on a T-shirt. And then hand it to you, Christian, to wear while we're on set. All right. So I think that pretty much covers the polls. All right, so the two tournaments went real well, it sounds like, Illinois and Delaware.
We definitely dealt with some weather. I don't like to say the R word. We dealt with some weather for both of these tournaments. With the Indy Invitational, we ended up actually playing a truncated pool play schedule. On Saturday, we literally got one round of pool play in. So it's huge shout-out testament to Sammy and Tracy, who ran an excellent tournament out there. Basically, everybody said they weren't going to play softball at all that weekend, and they did, and we crowned a champion. So, huge props to our field crew and umpires out there, too, for making it happen. Our boy Ed out there is amazing in Elkhart, Indiana.
All right. Good people getting the games played. Nice stuff. And then Delaware, the first ever first state showdown.
Yes, absolutely. The Delaware nickname, for the state of Delaware, is the first state. If you didn't know that, that is. That's how it got its name. So yes, the first annual first state showdown tournament was incredibly competitive between Pitt, Hofstra, JMU, and Delaware, which are all teams that come to mind when you think of teams that are in the top half of the NCFA ranking. So. And it was. I don't think we even had one. Maybe we had one run roll game. Yep, that was it. Just one. So everything else was played a full 7 innings, an incredible tournament. And Jules Emery, who's our new North Atlantic Regional Director, did a fantastic job running that this past weekend. And we're so proud of her for being able to do that. This is a great tournament. There's so many teams out there that we can add for upcoming years, and I think it got noticed. So I'm looking forward to see how this tournament grows in the future.
All right, sounds good. Well, anything else important about the league to talk about before we move on?
I don't think so. I mean, most teams are on it. We're moving right along. Yeah. We're getting to that part of the season, the fall portion of the season, where weather is becoming an issue. So, if for some reason your games are, postponed due to weather, please make sure you're getting that rescheduled date to your regional director by that following Thursday. That is an official rule, or they will be rescheduling it for you.
Gotcha. I feel like in the past there's been instances where teams clinch playoff spots in the fall. Any sign of that yet this year, or is that probably not going to happen this year?
It's possible, but it's been super competitive. Nothing as of yet. Maybe after these next 2 weeks. Probably when we talk in November, we'll have a way better outlook on if anybody has a potential clinch. As of right now, it's all up in the air, and we've got teams making waves we weren't expecting to make waves. So it's an exciting season, and I would love not to clinch anybody this fall. Let's do it all this spring. So
absolutely, I agree too. So that's good that we got that parity in the league, and everyone's got a shot. Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Savs. Well, I think that's going to be it for the softball portion of today's show. We appreciate your time, and wish you the best in the next couple weeks.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
All right, take care. Bye. All right. think that's going to close out today's show.
I think it is.
You want to take us home?
Sure. That's our show for this month. Thanks so much for tuning in into this episode of Suite 301. As always, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and our Facebook pages.
Next episode is going to be on Tuesday, October 16th. That's not true because that's today. It's going to be on Tuesday, November 20th at 3:01 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Facebook Live. So join us then and catch up on what's happening around the Colt Club Sports. And always, don't forget,
it's a game. Have fun.